different.
Yeah, so they are able to break the lease then, obviously if there's a death in the...
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the management company, but most times if you just have a separation and the one person leaves, you do have the ability to say to the management company or the private owner, hey, you know what, so-and-so has left, she's left, he has left, and I want to have it on my own. And sometimes they run an additional credit check and want to make sure that you're able to afford the property on your own.
That makes sense, makes a lot of sense. Definitely, I mean, and even in selling the home, you want to make sure that you can sell the home, because there are certain fees that go along with selling your home, and you want to make sure that, if possible, you can sell your home and walk away from the table with money for yourself to live with. I mean, that's always a great thing. We like to have a little spending cash, right? So even in renting, even in leasing, you definitely want to make sure that you kind of can come out the deal with a little something for yourself and not just kind of nothing.
Give it all away, right?
Exactly. You don't want to give it all away.
And with the second, you have to make sure that when you sign your original note that you can maybe sell it on your own. Because sometimes if both buyers are on the note, you have to wait till the second person decides that they want to sell it. And that's usually where the conflict comes in.
That's true. That is where the conflict comes in. And sometimes it's just about being nasty, I think. I'm just not going to sign this, and I'm not going to let him out of this lease, even though I don't want the house.
Yeah, or I'm not going to allow him to sell it because I really want the house.
Right.
All of that.
Sometimes we can be a little interesting. But so then we want to just jump into also the fact that there is a such thing as, well, it may be a myth, common law marriage. Now, I've done some research, and a few places told me that, yes, it is alive and well, and some other places told me, no, it's dead, and it's on its way out. So I'm not sure what's going on with common law, but I just want to kind of break down what common law marriage is. It's when you and your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance come together in a partnership in a property, and you guys both make that your place of residency where you receive your mail and you do all your business. If you've been with that person and in that situation for, it's in some states, 7 to 8 years, you're common law married. So we want to be careful when we're getting into these relationships and everything, that we know the legal issues that are behind our actions as well. I know that I have been definitely in this as well. I mean, I haven't had that relationship that lasted for 8 years, thank God. But I have had the relationships where I've moved someone into my place or into my apartment or something such as that, and without realizing it, we were making that their legal residence, where they got their mail accepted, packages were delivered to the property. And that's kind of what you want to be careful about, is that, that you understand everything before you kind of jump into something. I know that it's summertime and it's hot and all the cuties are outside, so but we still want to be careful about our thoughts and legal issues.
It's not cuffing season yet, though.
It's not yet. When does that start?
It starts, I don't know, January, February, when it gets cold.
Okay.
I know that some states do honor common law, and it's 9 or 10 that do, and it's exactly the time frame you were saying, that 7 to 8 years. And in Illinois, they'll honor it if you come from another state. Now, I'm not sure if you live here already, would it still apply? But I think it kind of, Illinois changes a lot all the time, so that's something to be researched, continuously, because it could change. But Illinois will honor it. So if you move from Kansas and you and I were together and we live here and I take you to court, we common law married.
Oh no. Well, definitely you want to be careful with that, as well as taxes on the house. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you're responsible for when you sign a lease, when you sign a mortgage, anything such as that. And sometimes even, like I said, just moving in together, it makes you legally responsible for some of these things. Like I said, like taxes, and you could really owe quite a bit of money in tax money. And the worst case about it is that they can find out later as well that you did not pay these taxes, and that's nothing but trouble, right?
Yeah, that's the worst thing, because sometimes when the second person isn't on a lease or on a note, they could still be sued for it. We together.
There we are. So I have a clip here. I want to go ahead and play for you guys just about how to divide property in divorce. And this is from an attorney. So this is something definitely that is to the point, and you guys should totally listen to it. Okay, that was very informative. That was very, very informative, I thought. What did you think, Shakita?
Yeah, you know what? It was straight to the point. It did touch on a few things because each situation is going to be very different.
It is. So definitely make sure that if you are in a situation similar to this, that you consult an attorney. Definitely don't want to, we're giving out some good information here, but you should always consult an attorney anytime you're going to do anything that has anything legal, any questions that you have. I'm going to try and see if I can bring an attorney on the show one day so that maybe he can answer your questions. But I also wanted to let you know we are accepting calls at the station. So feel free to give us a call at 708-345-0563. Again, the number is 708-345-0563. And Shakita and I would love to take some of your questions. Even if you just have rental or regular real estate questions, we can answer. But definitely, if you're in any type of divorce situation, we would love to talk to you as well today and hear your comments. So let's say you decide to say, you went through your list and you say, yes, I can still afford to keep my house. So the thing you need to ask yourself then is, what about your mortgage? What are you going to do about paying your mortgage? So if you're going to own your home in a divorce, you have three options. You can sell the home and split the proceeds with your partner because you guys are joint together. You can have one party buy out the other person's interest or refinance the mortgage, or you can keep ownership and finance the home as it is. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to leave that as a slight teaser for after we come back from our commercial. So I'm just going to jump into briefly just to talk about any other marriage and divorce situations that I've encountered where, people just don't agree and they fight and it's very painful also to sell a home during a divorce. So it's great to be, easygoing and to be able to communicate with each other and, keep things easy and just, just be amicable. Be nice. It'll be so much easier in the end if you can just be nice with each other, right? Yeah, I know you experienced that probably in your rental.
It's so hard to do because so much emotion is attached to everything, especially if it's a situation where someone did someone else wrong that didn't have really anything to do with the property or whatever, but it's always really hard. So it's cool to say, yeah, let's be nice.
Yeah, it is cool to say that, but, it's just a lot of headache. It really is. And unfortunately, it's painful. So it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So What else are we going to talk about today when we come back from our commercial break? We're going to talk about what to do about your mortgage when you're getting a divorce. Also, we're going to talk about co-owning the home with your divorce partner. And if we have time, we'll talk about things that they don't tell you in divorce, real estate, and mortgages. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. This is Smooth 90.5 FM HD Radio, and this is the Sarah Renee Show.
live365.com, iHeartRadio podcasting live, and HD Radio Channel 3.
Back with the Sarah Renee Show here on Smooth 90.5 FM HD Radio. And I'm here with my good friend Shakita Dobson from Kale Realty. Say hi, Shakita. Hello. So today we're just talking about real estate and divorce. And I just so happen to have another great clip for you guys before we jump into talking about this. This clip is actually about how to divide property in your divorce. So I'm just going to quickly play this, and then I'll be right back with you on Smooth 90.5 FM HD Radio.
calls it equitable division of property.
Okay, now explain what equitable division of property is.
Equitable division of property is not necessarily equal split or 50-50 split of property, but what it means is it's a fair division of property.
All right, so the court has to determine what is fair.
Yes.
How does the court determine fair? And how do you know, as someone that's in the divorce, that you're getting what is fair?
Well, the court will look at a number of different factors. They look at the conduct of the parties during the marriage. How long were the people married? What are their skills, occupation, education, their ability to earn money into the future? Those are the things that the court looks at, and the answers to those questions are rarely black and white. So you should consult somebody to find out what your rights are.
Right, because you want to make sure that everything is fair and that you have someone there by your side, an attorney, to speak for you.
Absolutely.
All right, and that was our clip. So just like they said, make sure that you get an attorney definitely before you do anything. As they were saying, that attorney was pretty straightforward. It's going to be a process when you get a divorce and you've cohabitated and bought property together, or even leased property together, or rented property together. It's usually a pretty big thing. So as we were saying before the break, we were talking about basically if you decide that you want to keep the home, and what are you going to do about your mortgage? So we say you have three options. One, selling the home, which if you decide you're going to keep your house, then that option is out. You can also take the other party off of the mortgage. You can leave ownership and finance the home as it is. So going back to take the other party off of the mortgage, you would have to refinance to get your partner off of the mortgage. Now here's the tricky thing with that, and I think we caught this on break, is that you have to get your ex-partner to sign away his rights or her rights and allow you to refinance this mortgage, because you guys went into it as a team. It's a team effort all the way through. So that may not be the easiest thing to do, but you also have to do that with selling the home. They have to sign off their rights if they're on the deed. They definitely have to sign off before any realtor can help you, right?
Definitely, because when you own the home together, you own it in its entirety, like tenants by the entirety. So you own it together, and it's going to be, it's a separation process.
Yeah.
Some mortgage companies, though, they have like a whole division set up for that, for people that need to separate property or remove somebody and try to refinance with only the one person's income. So you can contact your mortgage professional and ask, hey, what can I do? Or do you have something already set up, a division in your mortgage company set up, so that I could, talk to someone about
Nice,
that.
really good information. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware that they had that at this point.
Yeah.
I think when I was still selling real estate, they definitely did not have that. So I'm glad to see that they have that option, because it's definitely needed.
What are we at, like 63% divorce rate or something? Super high.
But it's been over 50% for the last at least 5 to 10 years at least. So jumping back in, option number 3, if you're leaving the ownership and you're going to finance the home as is, this can be done with your partner or by yourself. But you do need to maintain that mortgage payment and make sure that it's paid, because honestly, your mortgage lender is not going to, unfortunately, they're not going to care that you got a divorce, even though they should be a little more sympathetic, right?
Yeah, they should.
They won't be. It's the same as with your car note and everything. So the payments are considered debts, and just like, a student loan or a car note, it will also use up your capacity to qualify for your own mortgage if you wanted to move, to even start a new lease if you wanted to.
It does. I was just about to comment on that I get a lot of divorcees that the home, they haven't done the legal part, somebody else that still stays in the original home, and they move out, so they want to lease, but their debt to income ratio is ate up by a mortgage that still want the credit.
And aren't they still, in some situations, they're still kind of tied to that old lease too, aren't they?
Yeah, whatever it is, like whether it's an old mortgage, it's an old lease, they're still tied to it because they never took their name off, although they don't physically live in the property.
Wow, we gotta check our records, people. We gotta make sure that whatever we're doing, that we're doing it the right way, and that we're not injuring ourselves or our credit. or our ability to move forward in our lives, especially, a lot of people have children, and, you want to kind of make sure that you have a great place to raise your children. So we want to make good overall decisions and just know your rights. Know legally what can happen and what cannot happen, just so that you're prepared. I always like to stay prepared. Get on the internet, look some stuff up about divorce or about separation in real estate. We have some terms here, just some kind of tricky real estate terms. Actually, this page, I'm sorry, is about divorce, real estate, and mortgages and what nobody tells you. So just looking at this here, I want to quickly jump over to, real quick, guys. I'm going to come back to this page. But I want to jump into just some tricky real estate terms that I found, because, with every deal, with every deal, there's some language that is a little different if you have not studied the process, and just kind of wanted to go over that quickly. Shakita, do you have any off the top of your head that are confusing to some of your renters? Or
all of them, because they don't speak it every day. It's not something that's said every day. It's not common language. It's not common knowledge. Sometimes those words need to be broken down to more like and a good example is the lawyer when she said, that the property will be divided, but not equally, like, how we think, because you think equitable is, equitable title, I get half. No, it's just fair. It's just. Just is another word for fair. So real estate has a lot of double talk. Okay. So one word means this, but it really means this too.
So when you're with your clients, do you pretty much go over all of that, the terms and everything like that? So I know someone recently asked me what a leasee is, and anyone that's in an apartment situation, in fact, would be the leasee.
That's the person that's living there. Yep. That's really good. And then the owner is the leaseor. But the funny thing is, with mortgagee and mortgagor is different, because you're the mortgagor and the lender is the mortgagee.
Yes, because you're the mortgagor because you're taking out the mortgage and you are the person indebted to this mortgage.
Correct.
The mortgagor. Another term that widely kind of gets tossed around and confused is contingent. A contingent deal is a deal in which it has a solid deal on it. There's a buyer and there's a contract that's signed by both parties, and that turns your listing or your home into a contingent listing. Another one that's been thrown around that I get a lot is what is contingent? I mean, not contingent, but what is, just some of it's a different terminology I think that I've run past in my years of real estate, kind of looking at Shakita to help me out a little bit, because I can't seem to locate my document, but just anything that you guys don't understand, if you guys even want to ask us any questions, feel free to give us a call, 708-345-0563. Again, we're talking about divorce and real estate. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into what nobody tells you. You may want to know why you cannot remove your husband or wife from a loan. The simple answer is like kind of what we were just talking about. You guys have both decided to sign this legal document, and legal documents are really forever until you take it in front of a judge. So it's not going to be easy to remove your husband or wife from that loan. We talked about maybe doing a refinance, or a quitclaim deed, in which you are transferring your rights over to the other person. No harm, no foul, just kind of getting over it. I know a lot of people that do that as well. So we have here a term called a promissory note, and a promissory note is pretty much just an agreement to repay money to the bank or to whoever you're borrowing this particular money from. That's a promissory note. And so another reason that we may not be able to remove the spouse from the lease is, depending on how you purchase the property, as Shakita kind of briefly touched on, there are a couple of different tenancies or joint tenancy, in which case one person may own a larger portion, or a different stake in the property than you do, and I don't know if you.
Yeah, but in Illinois, they don't allow you to hold it like that. Illinois has it that when you're married, it has to be tenants by the entirety.
Okay, so that's split,
That's
50-50.
it.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's the end of the game. So, okay, well, that's interesting. You know, Illinois' laws are specific to Illinois,
Yeah.
obviously. And in any other states that you go into, they're going to have different laws. So I know that we're broadcasting out here in a couple of different states, and I wouldn't want you guys just to listen to us because we're talking about Illinois here. So you definitely want to talk to someone within your state who knows your state laws, because they're all pretty different. So we're going to talk about, if you're considering divorce, what do you do? The first thing you're doing is you're deciding what to do with your property. But then even with that is you have to think about children and their education and where you're going to, move your children to. It's a lot to think about when you're in the process of a divorce.
Because more times than not, but you want to keep the kids in the same school district. Also, it gets tricky when you have investment property, which is pretty much the worst if you did a divorce, because it's really hard to divide that, seeing that it's not an owner-occupied situation where the split is pretty much a lot easier than it is when it's investment property and sometimes it's purchased cash and things like that. So it could be hard, it could be easy, depending on, like you said, how you purchase. Now, the investment property can be held a couple of different ways. But you'll probably still have that judge say, well, what happened? Who purchased with what money? Things like that, because they have to figure out a way to divide this thing.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all just a little trick. Now, they actually could find out. One thing I learned when I was in real estate school is something called trust.
Yeah, you can hold it in
You
your
can
trust.
hold your property in trust. This is before you actually. I'm telling you guys all the dirt. You actually do this before you get married, and you hold your assets as your own. Now you can't just. I'm giving you all the dirt. So you can't just put it into one trust, right? You have to put it into multiple trusts. If you put it into multiple trusts, then they can't find it for the most part. Now there may be a really, really good attorney out there that can check like 200 different accounts, different trusts, to find and say, yes, this is Sheila's property, and you get a piece of this. But I don't know. That was always one interesting thing to me about property and investment, and something that I can keep for myself. And the key word also is, and I don't believe I'm saying this as a woman, but prenup. Prenup is the key word. Prenup is not necessarily just a bad thing, though. I can see how it could be used for good or evil. So, a lot of times it may be the male asking, a woman to sign a prenup because he wants to keep his assets. But, you have something to say over there, Mr. Rob? I see you looking at me. I thought maybe you had a comment. No? Okay. Prenup. So yeah, I mean, definitely if you're kind of like an investment group, half is right, and it just kind of depends on how you look at it, because if you're the person with all the investments, then you may not want to share your half, right?
Well, I know personally that I actually, when I got my first home,
Okay.
My divorce was freshly new, and the real estate closing, at the closing, my ex-wife had to sign a waive her rights. And even though the divorce was so really crazy is she signed her rights away, but her name still appears on stuff, which I don't understand. Can you explain that, please?
Well, what I'm thinking is you guys are still attached.
No, she never lived in the house and everything. I got the house in the beginning, and she came to the closing. She signed her rights away. She just signed her name, and the lawyer said, "Aren't you going to read what you're going to sign?" Oh no, well, this means that this is his property. Something happens to him, he died, you don't get it. So why is her name still appearing on some of
documentation. So there's a lot of times that she may or may not have to sign on to your legal documents. It's almost an automatic type of thing where they're going to add her name as well as yours because she.
It's recorded somewhere. That's what it is. That it's recorded somewhere and on a document that she didn't sign. And if she signed away her homestead right, which this is what it sounds like. She signed away homestead rights and things of that nature, but her name's still on documents recorded somewhere. Still come.
They don't tell you, at the last minute, 2 days later, your mortgage was sold to BSI or your mortgage. I was originally with Caldwell Banker.
Sometimes and that's a good point that you bring up. Sometimes we have to inquire about it. Unfortunately, I mean, that's kind of the world that we're living in right now. And we have to get this information. So I'm going to go to We're here with guest Shakita with Kale. She's been answering a lot of the questions and things that we've been discussing today. So I wanted to, I know I've been talking a lot also, in order to purchase a home, in divorce, out of divorce, you want to make sure that you have your credit together. So tips I have is pay the payment. I think that helps a lot. Also, remember to communicate with your bill collectors and let them know kind of what's going on. Not to say that that's going to help all the time, because more than likely they're going to tell you, yeah, whatever. But, it's better to, ask them. And, especially with the mortgage, too. There's a lot of times where your lender will actually help you. If you're in a hardship position and you can't pay your mortgage, they may be able to put it on the back end of your mortgage. So don't be afraid to just ask. The second tip I want to give is to make sure that you keep your revolving debt no higher than 30% of your credit limit. So I know we briefly touched on that last week. If you get a credit card, and let's say you have $500 limit, don't go out and spend all $500. That's not a smart move. One reason is because it's going to be harder for you to recover and to pay that entire $500 debt in one period. Also, it looks bad on your credit. It's not a positive look. What they're looking for is they're looking to see, one, if you can handle a certain amount of debt, and two, that you pay it on time. And that you're not, frivolous. When they give you a credit card for the $500 limit and you go to the mall and you spend up the whole $500 in one day, that's not a very good look as far as credit is concerned.
No, and it's all about utilization. They want to see that you can pay something off, or you have some type of history of being able to pay items off.
Right. To represent the fact that you've just paid off this entire $500 balance off your credit card. What you want to do is pay it down to with maybe about 10 to 20% left on the card that's free. But you never want to spend that much. You want to make sure that you pay it down so that there's still an active balance on there. And you don't want to your credit cards. If credit cards, it looks like you
And if it's a hardship, then it's a little bit more lenient. Like, okay, you lost your job for the period of these 3 months. You're behind 3 months. Okay, so it's looked at a little different than you missed that 130, and then you on time, and then you miss a 30 again. You're inconsistent.
I was actually I remember when I first got my car loan, my first car loan. I got a truck, and I remember I had lost my job, and I called them looking for help, and they were like, "No, absolutely not."
Yeah, all companies don't do it.
Yeah, I was so
They wouldn't allow you to put it on the back
devastated.
end. They didn't let you do
They
anything.
didn't help me at all. Like, I was so devastated. And revolving account is hard.
A personal loan.
Personal loan, debt, something like that. Keep your credit moving to credit you have. Credit services that are there to actually actively help you and to write letters on your behalf as well. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Shakita, I just wanted to thank you again for coming into the station today. I just wondered if you have any shout outs or anything you want to say before we leave the air.
No, I just want to add one thing to the credit.
Yes.
If you do have the bad credit score going on, you're in the fives, a really good tip is to get a secure credit card and get that going. And that is with your own.
She discusses, and so next week I think we're gonna go ahead back into maybe another round of divorcing real estate. I'm gonna see what other information I can research and go over with you guys. But if not, we will be back with some more great information on real estate in general. So you guys stay well, stop the violence, please stop the shooting, let's all get along, and let's have a safe summer. So I am out of here. This is the Sarah Renee Show with Smooth 90.5 FM HD Radio.
Just